Okay, so we're going live on Facebook. That's running, and then I'm gonna go live here, and then play the music. Okay, so guys, we're starting in 5 minutes. The countdown is going. We're gonna start almost. We'll just wait for more people to join. Please, there's files in the chat box that you need to download if you haven't gotten it on email. Great stuff. If you're coming in, just let us know where you're from. Just introduce yourself to the group and the chat box as we're just waiting for more people to join. Okay, welcome. Sonia, yes, even if you can't print it, you need to see the document at least. So get a pen and paper ready so that you can be able to use it. Pen and paper, so you can use the documents then as a guidance for you for tonight's coaching session. I think that is important. If you can't find and download it, please get it downloaded. Nice. I see people coming in. Laura, welcome. Thank you, Sonia. Donnie, all the way from Val Park. Great stuff to have you here. Chart, hey Chart, just around the corner from me. Nice to see you as well. From Durban, we have people here. We have Gaspar. Hey Gaspar, all the way from Belgium is here tonight. So looking forward to that. Having you all here. I think this is what makes it special. So I just want to get everything ready for the doc, that you can see him actually much more clearer. Expand video. Maybe we should go like this. Close that. That is much, much better. I'm going to put it for now like this. So for me, everyone, welcome here. For those who are coming in, welcome, welcome. It's important that you download the document that have been uploaded if you haven't received it by email. Technology sometimes don't work as it should, but you're going to need that for tonight's coaching session. If you don't know, I'm going to be here in the chat box. If you don't find the documents, you're welcome to then just reach out in the chat box and I will get it to you. Okay, so tonight the topic is about calibrate, a collective intelligence process to line check and discover the reality of your strategy. Tonight's talk is by the one and only DrBill Price. He's the CEO and founder of Bill Price Associates International. Now, DrBill Price has a master global executive coaching degree. He has a strategist master neuroscience practitioner. He has a national moderator for Comenza, the professional body of SA, member of the Institute of Neuroscience, member of the Association of Global Executive Corporate Coach and Mentors. Tonight, you're going to have the opportunity to listen to him in this talk. I want you to be success by the surprise that you're going to get tonight. I'm not going to go through and give it away for you tonight. I want you to be blown away. I want you to be surprised. I want you to get to a point where tonight you walk away and say, this is one of the best sessions you've ever been to. And so I want to say thank you. And it's a great honor to have the one and only DrBill Price that has spoken in front of thousands of people. He's assisted a lot of executive people in coaching. And tonight I have the honor of introducing him on my webinar platform for all of you to learn from and learn from the maestro, learn from the doc himself. So from my side, Doc, it's all over to you. Take it on.
Cobus, thank you for being the sunshine and the ray of sunshine in my life. I'm humbled and privileged to be on the platform with you and with all the other amazing speakers, which I have had the privilege to participate in some of their presentations and, of course, yours. So now tonight it's mine. I'm on the other side of the camera and on the other side of the microphone looking in. And I want to say welcome to each and everyone who have registered and have come on board. And I can promise you a few things. So the first thing I can promise you that this is not going to be a death by PowerPoint presentation. And it's going to be a coaching session where you need to have a piece of paper. So if you've got an A4 paper available, you can use that in reference to the 2 pages that have been made available to you that you can either pop up on your screen. And if you can't print them out, you can always do that later. But you need to be able to know that the special offer at the end of the process has got something to do with the 2 pages that you've received from us. So tonight, the word calibrate. I wonder what pops up in your thinking when you wonder what the word calibrate means. So if you go to the dictionary, it simply means that you align and you realign and you do some double checking when you begin to calibrate. You calibrate from a norm to where you are now in terms of reality. And I don't know where each and every one of you are in your own given reality. So you might be, I don't know how old you are, and I don't know what dreams you've had and what dreams you've let go of, and what dreams have turned into nightmares for you. I'm sure there's some of those stories that can be told. But on the flip chart here next to me, you'll see on the bottom left-hand corner is an X marks the spot, and that's where we are now. So if ever you are about to make a decision in life, there are 2 important points that you need to be able to pinpoint for yourself. If you get on an aeroplane, you know that you're getting on at a particular airport, and you hopefully know that you're going to get off at another airport. So the distance between X and Y is not always a straight line. In actual fact, a pilot friend of mine who trained pilots on SAA, he told me that from the moment you take off to the time you land, a good 70 to 80% of the time, the pilot is off course. So the plotted course that they handed in to the flight control center is not always where they are in the air because of a whole lot of things that happen. So I need to say this slowly and punctuate my words and enunciate my words very carefully. Shifts happen. Shifts happen. So you're flying and he sees a storm. He has to veer to the left of the storm, or he has to go over the storm or under the storm. So the altitude is not always the same. The direction is not always the same. So it's exactly like that in life. We wake up with this plan in our life. We think we're going to be X, Y, Z. We time a timeline from point A to point B, and then life happens. Then shifts take place. Welcome to reality. So instead of being a direct line from there to there, we now have a line that goes winkety wonkety all around because of certain things that are happening here. We eventually land in the future where we plan to be, our tomorrow. So Calibrate is going to be a coaching session, and I want you to get your pen and paper ready. While you're doing that, I'm reminding myself of the story of Alice in Wonderland. I have the privilege of about 38,600 and something one-on-one hours, logged coaching hours with C-suite level leaders and ordinary people. And over 3 decades, I've seen how dreams come true. I've seen how dreams turn into disasters. I've seen how the good, the bad, and the ugly happens. I've seen the human brain in action. So I'm not too perturbed about a person's personality and their characteristics in their ego. I pay attention in the coaching that I do in terms of how the brain pays attention to that. So on the chart, what's important to the brain is where I start. It must have a starting point. And where we're going to be at the end of the session, you would have had some time to work on your own particular Calibrate process. And you can decide tonight which of the two options you want to work on, or both. So the first option is a life calibration. So you can calibrate your life, and you can double check how far you've got. And because from this X marks the spot over here downward is another storyline. It's a storyline within itself. But here we are now. We are all here at point number X. We can state the day, the time, and the venue. Wherever you are, if you're seated or standing, I'm seated on a bar stool. And the only thing that's wrong with that is I don't have a glass of wine close by, but I will ensure that that will happen at the end of the presentation. So you can either choose your life that you're wanting to work with tonight, or you can choose your business, whichever of the two, or you can work with both. But I'm going to leave you with a spatial intelligence coaching tool. So I coach people based on the 13 brain intelligences, the 8 brain languages, the 28 sorting styles, the 27 cognitive biases that the brain has. So in understanding a little bit about the brain more than the personality, our brain picks up around about 2 million bytes of information every 2 seconds. And then through the senses, through the 8 brain languages of see, feel, hear, smell, taste, vestibular, kinesthetic, that which goes into the body is turned into energy and chemical energy, and it's put into the wiring of our brain. Then it goes through the intelligences of the brain, the biases. A bias sounds like If I like what I hear, I accept it immediately. That's a bias. It's called a blind spot. And we've got 27 of them in our brain. So I heard the other day there's a PhD, a lady doing a PhD that says that we have more than 27. She's discovered 184, I think. So it's making it more complex. But the brain knows what it's doing. So I sometimes shut out information because of my bias. I think in a certain way. I've got horse eye caps on, and that's what I believe. So gemaak, so gelaat staan. And that's all that I believe. So I have blind spots. I do not see beyond my 180-degree peripheral. And I live a life that is limited by what I see and what I believe. So Alice in Wonderland, as I find myself at times lecturing to strategy students in business schools, etc., I like to use a lot of the nursery stories, nursery rhyme stories, because there's a huge amount. Business language makes it too difficult. So Alice in Wonderland comes and she stands at a place and there's a choice of traveling 4 roads. So there are 4 roads in front of her. And she looks at the roads, and while she's looking at the roads, wanting to make a choice, the Cheshire Cat walks up to her and in the drama says, Alice, what are you doing here? That's a very powerful strategic question. What are you doing here? What are you doing in your life here, right now? What are you doing in your life? What's your life all about? And the cat says, what are you doing here? And Alice says, I'm wanting to find out which road I must take. And the Cheshire Cat asks a second very powerful strategic question. The Cheshire Cat says, you can choose the road depending on where you want to go. And interestingly enough, in the South African version of the story, Alice says, anywhere, I'll want to go anywhere. And then the Cheshire Cat steps back and replies to her, then Alice, you can choose any one of the 4 roads because any one of the 4 roads will take you anywhere. So my first coaching question is, where do you want to be? And that's something that you can determine. We've been given creative intelligence as part of our intelligences that the divine has built within us. We have been given the capacity to be creative in our inner essence and in our inner being. And it is the deepest level of thinking when I am creative. So I hold a pen in my hand and I say, okay, so if this is a pen, besides writing, can you come up with another 22 different things that this pen can do, that you can do with this pen? And that question then gets you into the place of creativity. And we go, well, that's fine. I can scratch my ear with it. I can scratch my nose. I can scratch my granny's nose. I can scratch my dog's nose. I can scratch a stranger's nose if they let me. And I can do all sorts of stuff with a pen. I can poke people. I can make holes with it in paper. And so there we already got a few ways in which we are already starting to think the normal use, using it in another way. And that's what coaching does. Coaching helps people in this part of the journey when they experience the spirals and I'm not going in a straight line anymore towards my dream. Coaching helps you to make sense of that moment. So if you're thinking of having a successful life, then it's quite interesting that you must do 2 things. Number 1, you must calibrate to know where you are, and every now and again calibrate. I've been doing life coaching for just on 3 decades, and for me it's a privilege to watch people and to have their dreams come true in their lifetime. I can remember a financial director once said to me, he came on a coaching course, he paid attention, he did all the work that he needed to do, and then he said, I've drawn in here my future wife, and it was a little picture of a stokvrouwtjie and pretty little lady with curl hair and whatever. And he wrote down the criteria of what he wanted in a woman that he would like to marry. Well, 4 years down the line, I get a phone call from him, and he says, Bill, my life picture is complete. I'm about to get married. I'm inviting you to the wedding. And I had the privilege of walking up to his lovely wife and saying to her, I met you 4 years ago. She says, where did you meet me 4 years ago? I said, no, I met you on a piece of paper. You look far prettier than what was on the piece of paper, because he just draw this little stick mannetjie and vrouwtjie. And but he had the qualities there, and you fulfill every single one of those qualities. So I'm here to tell you, dreams do come true. And dreams are the stuff that the future is made of. The fact that we've got a chair to sit on was someone's dream. The fact that we've got cars is someone's dream. Elon Musk has taken a car and put a car in outer space. It was his dream. So there's no traffic jams there and also no oxygen, but he's got a car up there. And the space mannetjie, who's not even knowing why he's there and what he's doing, hy bestuur uit die vale uit. So in reality, when we look at a dream, there's a Portuguese prophet who wrote a poem, and one of the lines in the poem reads, and God gave man and woman a dream, and then he sat back and smiled in anticipation. What are you going to do with your dream? I was 15 years old when I was walking down the corridor of Carlton Jones High School in Carltonville. The geography teacher, who later became a principal, Mr. Giles, walked up to me as we were in the corridors going to and fro, grabbed me on the upper arm and stopped me mid-sentence in everything. And while everybody was passing me by, he looked at me and he said, Bill Price, you need to remember that you are the world's greatest dreamer. Now, what does a 15, 16-year-old say to that? So I was polite and I said, thank you, Mr. Giles. I really appreciate that. And I started walking, and then he jerked me back. And in the jerking back, he came very close to my face and looked in both my eyes, and he said these words, just remember, for your dreams to come true, you have to stay awake. Wow. I learned more from him in that day, and the fact that it's now many, many years. In actual fact, archaeologists recently discovered the school that I attended there. But what I remember about school wasn't the fact about maths. I failed maths. I'm a living testimony that there's life after mathematics. But that one sentence, that one statement impacted my life, that I'm remembering it many, many years and using it over and over and over again when I'm presenting to CEOs, to people like yourself. To make your dream come true, you have to stay awake. It's not going to come true by itself. No one is going to step forward and say, let me make your dream come true for you. No one is going to step forward and say, let me help you make a success of your life. That's your and my responsibility. So which road are you going to take? Well, that depends on where you want to be. Then there's another story, and it's one of the stories on which my business, VIP Coaching, is established. And it's established in the Old Testament, where Jacob, the father of this young man, Joseph, who at the age of 17 was having these amazing dreams, but actually messing it up. So what does a 17-year-old know when he has a dream that all the wheat is bowing to him, or that the stars are bowing to him as the sun? And so he comes and he shares this dream with his brothers. And the father looks at this and goes, listen, he already read the book of Dale Carnegie that says how to win friends and influence people. And this young man is definitely not winning friends and definitely not influencing people the way that he should, because his brothers were having ideas of chucking him in a pit and killing him, and there's blood in their mind. And so his father comes alongside him. And this is something that I do as a master coach. I walk next to a CEO, and the first question I ask him, whether it's a CEO, a minister, a person in public world, African royalty, whoever I've had the privilege of coaching, I've asked this question, the amazing question that Jacob asked his son. Son, tell me about the dream that is in your heart. I know it's there. You were born with it. It was unfolding every single year that you have grown and developed. The dream is still alive. It is there. But it's your role to turn it into a manifestation. And the manifestation and the power of manifesting a dream are in our capabilities, in our capacity, and in our abilities and our skills. So I've had the privilege of watching how people turn dreams into realities. I go to a business, and the first question I ask is, so tell me, what's the dream for your business? But you need to be specific in this dream, because our dreams are very specific. When you dream you're running, it's very specific. And the interesting thing about the brain is that it doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So while you're dreaming you're running, your feet are jerking, the muscles in your legs are moving, there's energy that we can read with neuroscience measuring instruments, and your heartbeat is changing to the pace at which you're running. You wake up sweating, you wake up with a dry mouth. Then there's the love dreams where you make love to a continental pillow and you wake up and your mouth is filled with feathers or with those little pieces of sponge rubber, spugie. But you have lived that dream in reality. It has been you. It's like it's real. So that's how the brain believes everything that you tell it. If you say, I can't do it, the brain goes, fine, I'll store it like that. The brain doesn't think by itself. The brain just does exactly what it is instructed to do by the conscious mind. So by our cognitive mind, we make decisions and we decide, I'm going to have a dream. So I don't know where you are on this journey and where you are on this road. So may I invite you to have a look at, if you've got a piece of paper, the bottom left-hand corner is now. That's where we are now. The top right-hand corner is where we want to be. So the space between here and here is where the coach helps you to fill that space with action steps and with process and with detail. And it's always moving toward the solution. If you've got a coach that goes, no, I'm going to coach you this way off the page, I'm going to coach you that way off the page, fire the coach. The coach must get you here, must get you to where you are here. So let's start here where I am right now. So if you haven't downloaded the paper, take an A4 piece of paper, X marks the spot of where I am now. That's my reality. And might I quickly tell you, it is your perceived reality. It's not reality. It's reality that you've made up. Your mind has put meaning to this reality through socialization, through religion, through theology, through the parents and the grandparents, through everybody that has taught us and told us a whole lot of stuff. We've been socialized to create our own reality. So however big or small or real, you have interpreted your reality, might not be what reality is. Just remember that. So here we are, and there's a letter T, F to the power of X, and E to the power of M. So T, I'd like you to please take a moment and visit and answer this question and just be responsive. Just go for it. What are 3 things that you are tolerating in your life right now? Tolerating, well, what's that? Well, you're allowing it to happen with repetition, over and over and over and over again. You're tolerating it. You're tolerating your bookkeeper for not giving you all the necessary details in your business, and you let it slip. And it's been happening for months now. You know you've got to pay attention to it. You've been tolerating the way that your children are disrespectful towards your spouse or your partner. You're tolerating the way that you are being treated by the bank or by Discovery or by Diners Club, that you've now become a number, and you continually get these stupid little emails that are created by the system, and they are frustrating you out of your mind. You're tolerating that. I'm at the stage where I don't tolerate that anymore, and I enlarge the entire email to 38 points, and I send it back to the service department and going, this has been dealt with. Whoever needs to read it, take it back. So, 3 things that you're tolerating about yourself, about life, about others, about your business. The second question I'm going to ask you is frustrations. And I'd like you to ponder about that for a moment. And I want you to write down, what do you believe are your 4 top frustrations that you have right now? A frustration is something that you feel out of control of. You don't have a grip on it. It's like, I tell you, it's so frustrating. I wish I could just learn how to use Zoom properly. I wish I could just, and there's a wish to it. I wish I could. I should. I ought to. And in reality, what are the things that are frustrating us? So let me share this with you. Your tolerations, if you can fix them, these give you the quickest turnaround and growth points in your life. So the moment you pay attention to a toleration, it happens. Kapow. A frustration that you pay attention to is where you grow in your character. You need to do something in terms of your character. Patience has to come forward. Self-control has to come forward. Peace has to come forward. Kindness has to come forward. Part of your character. I have to be open-minded. I have to be growth-orientated for this particular frustration to be dealt with. And then when you look at the combination of the frustration and the toleration, what are the 2 emotions? What are the feelings that you have? So in neuroscience, we don't call an emotion an emotion. In neuroscience, an emotion is energy in motion. So before you feel a feeling, your body will sense energy. Everything in my body, a thought is first energy. A dream is first energy. Before it turns into a picture in my mind, it's energy. So my eye nerves turn the picture into energy and then store it as energy in a pictorial format. And when it's recalled in energy first, and then the picture comes up. So what are the emotions or the feelings that you feel? And have a look at them. Are they good feelings or are they not good feelings? And in neuroscience, we don't believe in good or bad feelings. We just believe in feelings. So the end result of it is where we pay attention as neuroscientists. So a positive emotion like gratitude and thankfulness and peace and joy and kindness can literally create new energy for you. It can literally create new genes for you. And that's called epigenetics. So the power of thought, the power of thinking literally turns chemicals into healing chemicals. Or if you have bad experiences in terms of emotion, they pump poison into the body, into the nervous system, from the nervous system into the circulation system, into the bodies. And our body has got 9 nerve centers where we'll pick up the vibrations, but we are not in touch with our body, so we never feel the feelings, and we got to think of our emotions. And when you ask people about the emotions, they're constantly telling you, no, well, I'm okay or fine. Okay is a shop, and fine is a weather report. It's not emotion. So let's look at where we're at. So this is where I am right now. And you can write a whole lot of other detail over here. You can write detail like how much is in my bank account. And don't fool around. This is the moment of truth. This is who I've got. These are people in my relationship. This is the business I've got. This is the product I've got. Plus, I've got a dream. Where's the dream? The dream is here. So from here to here is a timeline. I don't know what your timeline is for your life or your business that you want to think about, but you need to have a timeline. In 3 years' time, 2 years' time, 1 year's time, that's where I want to be. But interestingly enough, I am constantly aware that when I'm coaching people about the future, I have to coach who's that person in the future. So who are you in 3 years' time or 2 years' time? And around this person, you must write the characteristics in positive format. So I am blissful. I am positively aware. I am focused. I have clarity. I am a millionaire or a multimillionaire. And is it Rand or Zimbabwe Rand? Or is it dollar? So here about the future, you have to be specific. And here's the interesting thing about the neurology of the brain. If I woke up this morning and continue to focus on yesterday's agenda, there's no growth in my brain. I know what is known as neuroplasticity. So it doesn't grow. Nothing grows in my brain. I need to be very clear about this future, and I always ask the question, what's success? So in coaching, I compare the one with the other. So if this is where your life is now, the future, please tell me what the success of this looks like. So I'll have a couple come in and they'll tell me we're having a hard time, etc., etc. How long have you had it? We've been together 7 years and it's hell and whatever. I'm going, okay, great. So you're booking me for 10 sessions. After the 10th session, what does your relationship look like after 10 sessions? Do you still want to be here? And both of them say no. I'm going, okay, so tell me what it looks like. And the man, listen, the man always says there's more sex. I can't understand that. But anyway, so the man says there's got to be more sex than what I'm having right now. I'm going, okay, write it down, more sex. And the woman says, I'm going to have more headaches. And then you need to know, there, you've just lost there, pal. Einde van die story. Daar heette it. So you need to define very clearly success. Because when you work in meditation in the morning, you don't get out of bed until you've meditated the future of your day. And you bring in gratitude from there, and you bring it into the now. And the moment my brain works now with the future, it begins to believe the future, and it excludes itself from reality and begins to believe what I have dragged and magnetized into the now. And that's called living in the now. So looking at all of that, if you go to page 2, you'll see that there's a life wheel. And those of you wanting to work with your life coaching, you can now spend some time. So 0 is in the middle, 10 is the circumference. And in each of those, don't do them all now. I'm sure that you'll be able to watch a replay at some stage, but indicate in each of those. So there's relationships, there's spiritual, there's environment, my financial wealth, my work and business, my travel, my time, my physical well-being, my self-development, my contribution to life, my feelings, and fun. You can, right now, your brain will give you with 90% accuracy where to put those stripes. So are you a 0 or a 5 in that, or a 6 in that, or a 7 in that? When you've done that, allow me to tell you that the brain does not believe in balance. The brain doesn't know what balance is. The brain believes in harmony. So a lot of people in their coaching, I've heard coaches say, you want to get this wheel 100% so it can turn. No, you're assuming something here. You're assuming this is a wheel. It's not a wheel. It's a diagram of the components of the holistic life. It's not a wheel. It's not turning. It's not on a road. It's not going anywhere. This is just a representation of what's inside the brain. It's not a wheel. It doesn't have to be perfect. So if you're coaches and you're doing that, and learn from a master coach with all humility, stop doing that. You're confusing people. So balance, when you watch a person walking on a tightrope, they're doing this, they've got a pole in their hand, and they're doing this. It's counterbalance all the time. And that the brain understands. So one day I'm like this, and then I've got to react and bring it back into balance, and bring it back into, and this is harmony. This is what the brain understands. Walking straight is not balance. Then you're just walking on the ground and you're no longer on a tightrope. So this can give you areas of your life. So to work with that part of your life and to work in that area of your life, you need to be paying attention to the realities. Where are you now in this reality? So I look at this and I'm going, okay, so if I'm at 8, do I want to be at a 9 or a 10 in a year's time? Don't say tomorrow. Then you create a stupid dream. And you don't want to create stupid dreams. You definitely don't want to create stupid dreams. So I want to create a dream that is valid and that has attraction in it and draws me. You don't want to be a driven person. You must have a life that draws you. So the next question I ask you in terms of the top right-hand corner of your page, what is in your vision that draws you? What's in your vision that magnetizes you? The worst book that was ever written was written by a Christian minister in the United States. He made multi-millions out of it. And he wrote a book entitled The Purpose-Driven Life. Nowhere in any Hebraic scripture, translated from Aramaic into Hebrew and into Latin and eventually into English and Afrikaans and other languages, do we ever find a Jewish person being driven. Paul was never driven. Jesus was never driven. They were in tune, on time, being magnetized by their future. So Rabbi Paul writes in the book of Hebrews, and he says, who for the joy that was set before him, Christ endured the cross. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not laying any spiritual fact down. But Christ had a future that was drawing him, that he could handle the shifts that take place in life. And for him, there was quite a big shift that was coming his way. So when you look at page 1, you'll see that there are a whole lot of circles. So in the page that was sent to you called Calibrate is basically about your business. So I now want to coach you on what to do with these circles, and we're going to work with 2 of them. So you must now decide if you are working with your business, then you're paying attention to page 1. If you're working with your life, then you're paying attention to page 2. And I want you to find 2 circles that you want to work with right now. Choose any 2, and I want you to choose them wisely. So choose any 2 circles that we'll call the domino factor. If I knock this down, it'll knock that down and knock that down, knock down. Find the 2 dominoes that you want to work with in your business right now. So in coaching, we don't try and get you to finish all these circles. We'll do a diagnostic with you so that you can plot generally where you are in everything, and then we'll start taking, in terms of reality, what comes up on the agenda first. And we usually do not work with more than 2 in any given coaching session, depending on how long it is. So you can choose any 2. So some of you are choosing marketing, some are choosing your staff, some are choosing products, community impact, my leadership impact, selling. I hope you, if you're in business, choose selling, systems, quality, my company culture, or the character of my company, or the character of my home. And then yourself, down there on the bottom, is the areas of self, who I am. So there's my mind and my intellect, my emotions, my soul, and my spirituality and my well-being. So there's physical well-being, and you can divide that circle up into 4 or 5 components that you want to. But realize that when we were created as one whole. We weren't created as little compartments. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to do is, once you've given the 2 circles a name, I want you, and if you don't have a different color pen, I'm using red. I want you to create a pie, and I want you to pay attention, and you're saying, so it's about this much in this circle. So whatever X is in my circle, red is how much stress and anxiety I experience in the circle right now. So just take a moment and fill in intuitively. Go in that circle, and you know what, in this circle, it's a little bit more. And so this is, for me, stress. Then I'd like you to take some time, and I want you to write down, what do you believe are the 3 stressors? What are the things that are creating stress? So if this was family relationships, the guys will write my wife. If the wives are writing, they'll say my husband or the children or the dog or the parakeet that's got laryngitis or whatever. But here you write down, what are the 3 things that are creating stress? But be specific. Don't say Corona-19. That's as general as what it comes. I mean, goodness me, it's part of it, but it's not all of it. The stuff that's giving you stress is how do you respond to it or not respond to it. So be very specific when you start writing that stuff down. Okay, so we've written down 3 things there, and we've written down 3 things there. Calibration is about cognitive understanding. And if I can look at a thing and understand it a little bit more and cognitively, I can then begin to pay attention to it and look at it from a different perspective, because I'm going to be asking myself questions around the realities that I'm facing. So I've written what I've got there for stress. Then I want you to pay attention to the next space. And the next space you can choose, let me take blue. I want you now to allocate a space, and your brain's going to be 90% accurate with this. Allocate the space in terms of your capacity to handle this item. So whatever this item is that you've decided, whether it's work or life, that item, and you're going, you know what, my capacity to be able to handle that is there. So I've got so much capacity. So I've got capacity to handle this issue. I've got so much stress, but I've also got that in capacity. So I've got a capacity to be able to handle that. So capacity is ability. Every one of us has been given capacity, some 1, some 2, some 5. And in the story, we find that the master gives the person 1 talent, he gives another 2, and he gives another 5. And we kind of say, oh, shame. So it's not equal. Well, the reality is God doesn't create people all equal. I'm sorry to mess with you now. So if equal equals, we must all have 5, like the communist theory would be, and the socialist theory, going, no, that's not, it never works that way. So I've got capacity. So the one that had 1 talent had the capacity to multiply it by 2. The one that had 2 had capacity to multiply it by 2. And the one that had 5 had the capacity to multiply it by 2. All 3 of them had the capacity to double what they had in the timeline. And that's what levels the playing ground. In actual fact, in the story you read, the master gave them each talents according to their capacity. So when you hear people telling you, you can become anything that you want, you can do anything that you want, I'm going, whoa, I'm not so sure of that. I really don't know about that one. But I can tell you this, that you have capacity to double what you've got in your lifetime. And my coaching question is, so what the hell are you doing about that? What are you doing about doubling your capacity in your lifetime? And for that, there are 2 things. You've got to have resources. And Kubis today in the presentation spoke very powerfully around how to start a business from scratch. And he said there are resources. Go and look around. Guitars that I can sell, cars that I can sell, a wife that I can sell, children that I want to sell, dogs that I want to sell. So those are resourceful. But there's something else that I've got, and that is resourcefulness. And resourcefulness is my creativity that has been given me. So therefore, I'm then saying that the remainder, that area there, is growth. So here's my coaching question. In this circle here, you're going to do it for every circle on your page. In this circle here, what are the two things that if I pay attention to growing this, I've already got this going for me. I've already got resourcefulness. I've got resources, I've got people that I can contact, I've got a network, I've got capacity, and I'm creating. What kind of success am I creating? But remember, I now want to create a different kind of success. I want to create a success that is on the top right-hand corner of my page, and that is success times exponential. So here I'm totally different. This is where I am totally different. It's more than this over here. Here it's far more. So what four things can I do here? And they are actions that I must take so that this capacity grows into that. This here, if I stay here, is called my comfort zone. And let me tell you, a comfort zone is not a good place to be. Comfort zones are actually graves. And the only difference between a grave and a groove is the depth. So here's my offering. I'm offering anyone who completes page 1 and page 2 and emails it to me, the first one that emails it to me will get 2 one-on-one sessions with me, and I will help unpack both your life and your business based on a diagnostic criteria, and I will help you, and it's worth around about 4,896 Rand for the 2 sessions. And the first one who sends me these 2 pages completed, I will then give you that for free. And the rest of you going, no, what about me? Well, the good news is I'm cutting off almost 50% off that. And I'm saying, if you are coming in second or third and you want to have 2 one-on-one sessions with me at the ridiculous price, I charge per coaching session around about 3,500 Rand per session with executives. So you'll be getting 2 one-on-one sessions for 2,989 plus a thorough diagnostic, neurolinguistic and neuroscience diagnostic on your 2 pages, and I will help you to unpack your dream so that you can stay awake and turn it into reality. You've been the best group that I've spoken to. Thank you, Kubus, for the thrill and the privilege.
It was great stuff. Let's quickly, if there's any questions before we close tonight's call that anyone would love to ask. You have your opportunity now. So, okay. Alan says, I am 73 and I'm still looking for why the Creator put me onto this beautiful planet. I have a ritual every morning, firstly, to thank for the clean, hot running water in my shower. That to me is a privilege. Then I ask, what is it all about? I do not have dreams, but I know I have to survive. The Creator seems to have looked after me. Am I being too complacent?
My answer to you is no, you are being alive, and that's part of your purpose. So if we look at the Genesis creation, he said you must be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and overcome and govern. The word fruitful means to be productive. So if you've been productive, you've been doing your purpose. Multiply doesn't mean just make children. It means to double what you've got in your lifetime. There you maybe need to work something on, and you're never too late. Replenish means to almost like franchise. How do you double up? So when I watch Kobus, he's now going to greater dreams. He's doing things at a bigger scale. He's promising things at even a bigger scale after this online webinar. And so he's doubling up. He's doing exactly what Genesis has told us to do. Then subdue means to orchestrate, and the orchestration is in our hands, and then we have to govern and have control of, and you've been doing that in your life. But do give me a call. We can have a chat anytime. I'd love to be able to help you, because you definitely are in line and you're doing it already.
Yeah, I think that is one thing that's important. I think all of the speakers on this meeting of the minds has opened up their email boxes and WhatsApps that you can reach out to them and get a session of them, and just chat, and take it from there. Everyone, I've put the email address in the chat box for you to be able to reach out to Dr. Bill. Dr. Bill, there's a question. Here's a question. What about future mapping? Is that part of being drawn?
Yes, future mapping is connecting yourself into the future. So I'm a bit of a futurist, and I'm aware of the fact that there are around about 150 different trends that are unfolding right now in the world that are coming at us, whether we like it or not. And so it's a new way of banking, and a new way of insurance, and a new way of medical, and a new way of whatever, 150 different trends that are unfolding that we better be prepared for. So mapping the future is unpacking what you perceive on the inside. So you do have a dream. Mapping it out is simply unpacking it on a piece of paper and going, oh, so is that what it looks like as I understand it now? Joseph, when he dreamt the sun and the moon and the stars, years later, 17 years later, when his brothers bow before him in the temple, he cries, goes and stands behind a pillar, and he weeps. And there he realizes, this is what the dream was all about. This dream that I had when I was 18 had nothing to do with my brothers bowing before me. It was a political dream. It was an economic dream. It was an international dream. So our dream that we map is very limited to the exponentiality of who we are in this conscious world.
Great answer. I think Alan also said, he has two most brilliant, two little people and the most fantastic soulmate. He says, just want to say thank you. Graham says, brilliant, Doc. I've become a student tonight. Wow. Donnie says, wow, thank you, Dr. Price. Charles said, great talk, Dr. Price. Loved the talk. Sonia says, thank you, Dr. Price. I think if anyone wants to have me open their mic or video, let me know in the chat box, and then you can ask that way a question. Maybe you can get a free coaching session that way tonight. So if you really want an answer, put up your hand. You don't have to type it, because sometimes typing it takes long, and I will open your mic for you, and you get a chance to get the advice that probably take a chance now. Don't wait.
Sonia, your question, is your dream connected to your purpose? The answer is yes. They're both interconnected.
Great stuff. Okay. So anyone, you have your time now to ask a question, whatever. If you want me to open your mic and ask a really good question to advice, please come forward. Donnie says, tonight I've realized I'm living in a comfort zone. Donnie, I think we all do. And I think that's why I got Dr. Bill Price here as well, and the other speakers, is to get us out of our comfort zone, because that's the only time that we can grow. And we need to learn from experts. And like I've learned in the past, I don't know everything. And that's why I like to surround myself. Yes, are we perfect? Nobody's perfect, but we can strive for perfection. And by having, great people like Dr. Bill and your team, it's life-changing. Sonia asked, and your passion, Dr. Bill, and your passion is what sparked your purpose?
So your passion is found in your value system. Your passion is found in the things that are important to you. So if I watch my grandsons playing on the video games and all the stuff that they do on the internet and creating videos at the push of buttons, I don't have to motivate them to do that. Your passion is internal motivation based on your values that are important. I don't have to be passionate. I don't have to be motivated to be passionate about my family. It's part of my value system. I don't have to be passionate about money. It's part of my my value system. I don't have to be passionate about spirituality. It's already part of my value system. So your passion is linked to your value system. And when you live volgens your value system, gooi ek 'n Afrikaanse woord nou daarin. Voel ek nou soos 'n Afrikaner? Kan jy dit glo? So when your passion is connected to your values, then it's automatic. You live it out. It becomes you. You don't have to wake up or drink Enos and Brooklaks and mix the two to get you going in the morning. Jy moet net nie hoes nie, that's all.
Yeah, well, Sonia says, don't worry. She's also Afrikaans, so she totally understood you. Alan asks a good question. I think Alan, you're never too young to ask this question. When do you find your dream, Dr. Bill?
Whew. I think your dream finds you. I think that we are assuming too much. We're assuming that we have to do all the hard work, and it's because we are unaware. It's because we live in unconsciousness that we are unaware of the signals that are coming. So you've been getting signals coming your way and my way since we were born. From the age of 3, sociology teaches us that we already know that there's a living God, no matter which culture you belong to, and no matter which house you were born in and how you were raised. You know there is an eternal God at the age of 3. It's just a fact. It's been researched, and neuroscience has discovered the God factor in the brain. So neuroscience, the new kid on the block, took Freudian psychology and pushed it aside and said, inside the brain is a realm called meaning, purpose, and spirituality, greater than me. So in understanding how my dream comes alive, there are snippets of information that come my way, but because I'm unconscious, unaware, blinded by my blind spots, it takes time for the dream to grab hold of me and shake me and go, hello, here I am. And when that moment happens, that's the moment, and it's never too late. You can be 60 at that time, and it's great. You can be 14 at that time, and it's great. But it's the awakening where the dream and you come together.
So Alan says, I'm not listening to the messages.
Yep. That's it. You've spoken the truth, and the truth will set you free, Alan.
Great stuff. Mr. Padiachi from Durban says, thank you. Alan Graham says, our dreams are being overshadowed by our fear. And Donnie says, when do I know what the dream I have in me is really my dream or just a fantasy?
So a dream happens in the realm of creativity, not fantasy. So the dream happens in your realm of creativity. It happens in your creative consciousness. And in your creative consciousness, your dream is formed. Fantasy is when you begin to take your wants and your wants, and you start building on your wants. So quickly, we all know, and I'm assuming that the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the bottom section of the triangle are our needs. They're very basic. I need water, I need sex, I need air, I need food, I need companionship, I need shelter, I need defense mechanisms. They are basic needs. There's nothing fancy about my needs. And everybody wants their needs met, and they demand our needs to be met. And they're not demanding for their needs to be met. The next level up towards self-actualization, is our wants. Now, our wants are the nice things. That's our fantasy. I want a car. I want a Maserati so that when I drive up in the driveway, people think I'm rich and therefore I am prosperous and whatever. But I can drive up in my Kia Cerato and they don't know that I've got X amount of million in a bank in America. So you're making false judgments. You're fantasizing about people. So fantasy is when I work with my wants. I want a car, I want a house, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And wants are in the realm of the ego and in the realm of my soul. But my desires, they are in the realm of my essence. realm, in my in the way in which I'm created in the image of the one who created me. They are desires, and those desires are the lofty desires that we need to listen to and to parallel with and work with.
Okay, good. Thank you, Doctor, for that. I see a few people are typing. I just want to see what they are typing. If you're just going to wait, I think it's Graham and Alan, but I just want to say again, thank you, Doctor, for giving us the message you did tonight. It's really empowering. Graham says, I will have to watch this a few times. Yes, Graham, the recording will be up by tomorrow morning. So be open to watch it. So the replay will be out. And then Alan says, thank you, Doc. He really appreciates it. Thank
you. Wonderful. I appreciate each and every one of you. And for the extra time that we've gone into Cobus, I'm humbled. Thank you.
No, thank you for you, Doctor. You know, it's great to learn from you. And Sonia says, great, thank you so much. I think she's shouting that out on top of her lungs.
So much. Well done. Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you to everyone that joined tonight. I really appreciate it. And I know Doctor is also appreciating it. And thank you for making the time. There's a lot more videos coming up. Remember, if you miss one, don't worry about it. There is going to be replays. The replays are available for the whole month. So you don't have to miss anything. And you can constantly go back and you can share it with friends to watch and go comment on the replays. So from my side, I just want to say thank you. Before I close down, any last words from you, Dr. Bill?
I just want to say, relax with your life and learn that it's not about performance. It's not about doing. It's about being and becoming. And if you can be and become, then you're starting to learn what life is all about. Life, we've never been created to do. We've been created to be and become. And that's my greatest blessing and wish for you all.
Thank you for that blessing, Doctor. And I think we all need it. I just want to say the last people, Sonia and Donnie, typing, and then I'm going to close this meeting tonight. Sonia Quivers, thank you for creating this with all of these amazing people. Sonia, it's a pleasure. You know, there's so many, how can I say, speakers that are well known. And I thought, you know, when I started this, I want real people. I want people that is not used to being online to share their stories, because there's so many people out there that have the expertise and the knowledge and the wisdom, like Dr. Bill, like the other speakers on the group. And I wanted them to share, because some of them are having real life experience and they can bring over that. And sometimes that's what we need in this time of COVID, of the lockdown, is we need real people that are gone through it and they are successful, but they're not always talking about it. So thank you for listening to them and tuning in. Please share it with other people as well to watch. I just want to see Donnie and Sonia are still typing. And then if you just finish those two typing, then I'm going to close tonight's meeting.
And just remind them about the offer, Quibus. The first one who sends me in a completed document will get their free of charge 2 one-on-one sessions. And those who would like to be part of a diagnostic and 2 one-on-one sessions, they can get it for the reduced rate.
Yes, I did send them their email address in the group, and I also send them the link. I'm going to send you the link that I've sent them that you can also just check. I send them a link on the group where they can buy. I just want to put it out there. Okay, Donnie says, thank you. It was really life-changing. And it's not just COVID, it's a life lesson. Thank you, guys. That is awesome. Here's the link again if you don't have it. That you can go and use it. I'm just going to send it to all of you. There we go. Okay. Having a beautiful night, everyone. Thank you. Have a beautiful night. Remember, email Dr. Price, and the first one that gets it to him will get a free coaching session and maybe a few extras as well. And this is from me tuning out. Let's go and sleep and have a good night's rest. Bye-bye.